Hi there, Russ Douglas 222 again. Hope everything's working okay with the microphone. And this is me with another unboxing video. Before part 4 of the previous review video by myself and Bruce is out. I have another box to review. And Bruce is on his way. We're about to go down to the harbour and repeat the comparative review and the checks we did with the PARD SA25 just 10 days ago. We're about to repeat that with the SAIM SCL35 Thermal Scope. Thanks very much to Cliff of Optical Solutions for lending us this for review. And it's going to, as always, it's 100% independent review, impartial, with our own opinions. And Bruce is going out tonight with some shooting friends who've already got experience of night vision and thermal. And he'll be asking everybody for their honest opinions of this. And also a comparison with the PARD SA25 and the Pulsar XQ38V spotter. So there'll be 4 thermal images in use tonight. Well, this afternoon. 2 scopes, 2 spotters. Before I go any further, just weigh the box and the entire thing with packaging, 1.1 kilos. I should mention that the final part of 4 of our PARD SA25 thermal scope review is coming up shortly. I just need to get some more footage. I'll be putting it onto my FX Wildcat, the shortened one, shortened by Effective Tuning, brilliantly. I'll be putting it onto that and zeroing it out of my permissions and get some footage of some pests with it running around. So without further ado, all I've done so far is slit the box open from as it arrived an hour or 2 ago from DHL. And let's see what we've got. It's well wrapped. Cliff has obviously done this before. And I have got some spare 18650 batteries in case that's what it uses, because I don't know what, to be honest. Right. So we have a rectangular box marked model SAIM SCL35. Compass, movement sensor, Bluetooth. Right, that's everything. So we've got quite a nice padded synthetic pouch. It's got some belt loops, a D-ring for a shoulder strap, a side pocket, which contains, interesting. Okay, which contains a Picatinny mount. So we've got a channel with 4 mounting holes, and we've got 2, I like these, we've got a bit like the PARDs, we've got 2 hex head bolts here, so they can be tightened via a spanner, or they have holes, so you can obviously see that you can get an Allen key through there. That's quite light, actually. What's that weigh? That weighs about 140 grams. That's very light. Very nice. And it's obviously reach back, because as with all digital scopes, day and night scopes, and in this case thermal, it's a near eye display, so there's not much of a eye relief from the eyepiece back to yourself. So we've got a single removable bar here to slot into the keyway of the Picatinny rail. Without that, this would slide freely. Very, very adjustable. Obviously, you want the recoil arrest to stop in place if you're using a rifle that recoils heavily. But that feels very nice. Right, so on to the main event. Ta-da! We have the SAIM SCL35. So this is the 35mm lens version of the SAIM Thermal Riflescope. We've got a decent soft flexi rubber eye cup at one end, a very nice smooth but not loose diopter with lots of measurement. There's no sign of any locking ring on it, so yeah, it'd be nice if there was a little locking ring to prevent that moving in use, because once you've got the near eye display all focused, you don't really want that to change. So yeah, okay. This end we have, that's also smooth, but it's a fair bit stiffer, and there's about 120 degrees of travel on that, the main objective focusing lens. That's a lot stiffer. I think I'd rather see that freely moving like this and this stiff like that, but you can't get everything. There's no, right, it's a nice compact unit. Oh, just let me pause to weigh this a second. It weighs, that's 500 grams. If I add the Picatinny rail and mounting bolts, that's almost just a shade under 600 grams all in. Brilliant. One thing straight away, the rear section, apart from the rubber, rear section, this is cold. This is alloy. And the front section's pretty cold as well. I believe that's alloy. I'm not going to take the ring off completely, but yeah. Whereas this central section that houses the actual electronics, the guts of the spotter, or the guts of the riflescope, whichever purpose you're going to use it for, that's plastic. So this is bordering on warm to the touch. Yeah, and something else, we have a battery compartment on the side here. It's not, and there's no lanyard for the scope as such. There's a small lanyard here with a small cord attached to the battery cap. Now that we've got here a pair of, if I can just show you that, a pair of on both sides, pair of little catches. So push it in and that's it, click, it locks, or an eighth of a turn and it comes free and hangs. So it's not the world's most secure connection, but it does click positively, and there's a little bit of spring pressure there, decent amount of spring pressure, and there's a rubber seal around this battery cap. We've got 2 batteries, and having read the instructions that Cliff Ray at Optical Solutions has supplied, this has come with 2 650 milliamp Nightcore rechargeable batteries, integrated battery overcharge and over discharge protection circuits, lithium ion performance batteries, hydrating devices, Nightcore 3.7 volt. Right, so it runs on 2 3.7 volt rechargeable batteries, or, having read the instructions Cliff supplied, 2 3 volt CR124s, I believe they are. I'll put that in the description below. There's a small decal if I can just try and focus on that there. Ah, there we go. So focus battery on one side, cap up, spin it around, battery on the other side, cap down. So one up, one down, and then click. Nice positive click at least. And you do have a little lanyard, a little synthetic lanyard, which looks quite strong. It's one of those cord ones that prevents you losing the end cap. So whichever kind of battery you're using, 3 volt non-rechargeables or 3.7 volt rechargeables, please remember to set that in the menu, because it has quite a difference on the battery life. On off, mode switch and calibrate to force the calibration. And the SAIM Thermal SA series, they're not shutterless technology, so they will pause periodically, like the pulsars do, like my pulsar Quantum XQ30V spotter and Davies Helion XQ38V spotter. So now, this being a rifle scope or a spotter, but this being a rifle scope, you don't really want to lose a shot when it decides to calibrate as you're about to squeeze the trigger. So I'm thinking the right thing to do would be press the calibrate button, does its calibration, it frees up the view, and then you line up and you take your shot. One other thing, the central body between my thumbs being plastic, we've got the designation here, SAIM SCL35, part number and serial number, but this being plastic, it's got 2 brass inserts. So you've got an alloy mount, an alloy rail being connected to the plastic main body with steel screws into brass inserts. So it may be very secure. I mean, it is a very light device, so that may be secure. It's entirely up to you. And one other thing, the very short baseline of these 2 screws means that this being a digital scope, as with all digital scopes, it can be, depending on what caliber you're shooting and what power level, they're all quite different trajectories. So you might well need to shim the scope, especially at the rear, to recenter the reticle before doing fine tuning with the menu when you're zeroing. On that note, you'll see here we have a sort of a cone shape. If I can show you end on, see the cone shape on either side here, and there's a corresponding sort of trench here, if you like. So that suggests forced centering to align the SAIM SCL35 or the lesser model, the 25, the lower spec model. Forced centering within the rail, which is great. But as soon as I saw this, my comment to Bruce was, you'll see in the next video Bruce's opinions and Bruce's a lot more information from Bruce's trials of this. If you were to, let's say for example, you had this at the rearmost setting, you've got 3 options. If you wanted to shim underneath the rear connector, as soon as it is lifted out of this sort of trough, if you like, there's a potential for a little bit of wobble. So I think I'd be using possibly a square washer to get a nice flat surface on which to pivot when shimming. And don't think shimming is unique to these thermal rifle scopes. If you look at YouTube, I've seen quite a few pest control videos recorded on digital scopes like the Photon RT or XT or the Wraith, where within the rectangular field of view, the zeroed crosshair is quite low. And it's simply the nature of the beast with a digital scope. If the reticle's low in one of those views, then it hasn't been shimmed. the user's obviously happy enough to adjust the vertical, especially the vertical reticle alignment, and not have the crosshair, the sensor crosshair, in the center of the view. Menus, we'll get into menus in, well, hopefully very shortly. I'm just waiting, with this being a loaner unit, it didn't come with a cable, so I'm just waiting for the cable to arrive from Cliff. We have here, there's no onboard recording facility, but we have a USB Type-C socket. So commonly this is used with a 90-degree, a small 90-degree adapter, and then the USB cable can then be run to the digital recorder, the DVR of your choice. So I'm hoping to very shortly to record a full session showing you through the menu. Mode button, a short press brings up a short basic temporary menu, which lets you adjust brightness, contrast, sharpness. A longer press, but that menu doesn't stay on screen for long, which put me off a bit at first. It was a bit unexpected. But for the more of the menu options, and it's for zeroing especially, and for the fantastic ultra clear mode that this includes, some amazing electronics in this gadget, as Bruce will testify to. But for the main menu, a much longer press of the menu button brings you up a vertical menu with lots of pictograms. This is mainly a pictogram related menu, so rather than selecting umpteen languages for the text of your choice, it's pictograms. But once you get the hang of the pictograms, it's pretty quick to use. And if you bought one of these, you'd soon get the hang of them. The lens cap that this has come with is quite stiff to open, so it's not silent, but it's very secure, it's not wobbling, and it's not spring-loaded. That's going to stay out of the way, whichever hand you're focusing with, and obviously it can be rotated through 180 degrees or whatever, wherever you want it. So I'm reliably informed that as well as the pouch and the mount and the two fixing screws, the standard unboxing would include batteries and a download cable and a manual. There'll be photos to accompany this video review, photos that I'll put in my Flickr album. I'll include a link to that below once I've got the album online, and I'll include sort of digital photos of every page of the manual itself, just as I did for the PARD SA35 review. Okay, so hope this is of interest. It's I would say there's some pros and cons. Fantastic lightweight, great spotter, and Bruce has testified already. Bruce has got some very thorough 3 pages of very thorough notes from his testing of this thermal scope, both as a spotter, and I'll be testing it as a scope shortly. But he does say the ultra clear mode is amazing. Remember to keep in touch with whatever's the latest gear out there for night vision, be it infrared or thermal, by keeping your eye on the UK Night Vision Forum with members from all over the world. And there's lots and lots of great opinions, great threads in there from folk like me and you who actually use this gear. You'll get honest opinions from there. You can ask any question, and there'll be someone on there who knows the answer. So I'll put the link below to the forum. Might see you on there. Please share this with your friends and anyone else who might be interested. Subscribe so you don't miss more coming up. I'll get the actual live sort of footage, recording some pests. I'll get that online ASAP, and any actual pest control footage where pests are actually being controlled and shot, in other words, that'll be very clearly marked. And I'm generally going to try and keep pest control footage into separate videos. If there's ever pest control footage at the end of a review video, as I've done once or twice before, there'll be a very clear disclaimer all over the screen, and there's going to be nothing too graphic or gory. Okay, thank you.